What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the North Star Takes podcast. I'm Bailey Paulicki. He's Jacob Liberta. And if you're a Minnesota sports fan, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And if you're a Vikings fan, give this video a like because we're going to be doing another mock draft. And it's definitely middle of mock draft season now. We're at late March. We got a month to the NFL draft. Most of the big name free agents are signed, even though there's still quite a few out there. But it doesn't appear that the Vikings will be involved with any, as they're kind of starting to make these bottom of the barrel signings now when it comes to their offensive line. What was that guy's name? Jesse Davis? Is that the guy from the Dolphins?
Yes, I think it was Jesse Davis. Then we picked up another kind of journeyman corner / safety too.
Yeah, exactly. So nothing that's maybe more so depth than anything, which if these guys can stick around and be depth pieces, that's great. But it kind of appears the Vikings are going to have to start making their hay here in the draft. So we're going to try and do a full 7-round mock draft for the Vikings, albeit they don't have a 4th-round pick this year, but we'll go ahead and get started on it right away here. We had a couple comments. We had one in particular saying we should pick bad players for the Packers. Maybe we'll have to do that one of these times. Maybe one time as we get closer to the draft here too and things start settling in, we can do a full 1st-round mock draft and make a pick for every single team and just kind of predict how that's going to go.
I like that.
So, but for today, we'll just do a 7-round Vikings mock, and we'll get started here. You got Evan Neal going number 1, which I don't know if that's going to happen at this point.
Yeah, I would have said so for sure if they had not taken or tagged Robinson. But yeah, now that Robinson's going to be there again, then yeah, I find it kind of highly unlikely, but you never know.
Well, look at this scenario we stumbled into here, Liberta. We got Sauce Gardner still on the board.
Oh man, I feel like that's a slam dunk, right?
I think it's got to be. I mean, I don't see how the heck he gets outside of the top 10.
Him and Stingley both outside the top 10.
Yeah, because we've seen the mocks where they got Sauce going at 4 or 5 to one of these New York teams.
Yeah, because both of them could use some corners, so that is a little bit surprising that they slid down the board. I mean, maybe this is just an instance in this algorithm where other times it's going to pop up where they end up in the top 10. But here, I mean, You never know. It could pan out like this in the draft just because you mock drafts. Obviously, there's no exact science to it, so this could very well happen. It could be a scenario that plays out, and I feel like for the Vikings, he'd be running to the league basically announcing your pick of Sauce Gardner. So I don't know. You think there's any question about this, Bailey?
No, I mean not for us at least, but it's a little more. I don't know. It's kind of a bummer. This isn't exactly always the most realistic outcome, but
sure.
Because like would Washington really take Stingley over him, and like I don't know, would a couple quarterbacks maybe go before our pick at 12? It's hard to say.
Yeah. And the thing about Stingley is it just depends on which scouts and GMs are really buying into his one season at LSU, that freshman year, 2019. He's just phenomenal. Like he could be a top corner in the NFL, or if you're going over the whole lifespan of production in college where Sauce was obviously a lot more steady, but it just depends what you like a little bit more, what you trust a little bit more, I guess.
For sure. So yeah, let's go with Sauce. I think that's a slam dunk home run pick.
Yes.
You got your starting outside corner opposite Cam Dantzler.
On day one. That's amazing.
Yeah. Huge boost to the defense.
Mm-hmm. Who Drake London to the Packers. Okay. Some would argue he's the best receiver in the class.
I've seen some reports that the Packers are interested in this Treylon Burks from Arkansas.
Yeah. A lot of people expected him to grade a lot better at the combine, but he just did not flash the athletic potential for his profile that he has as far as size goes. So that one, I wouldn't mind if the Packers took him because some people are questioning his size, I guess. Some people think he's too big or he can't move well enough.
Right. Yeah. And honestly, that's, I'd be okay with that. I'd rather they get him than like one of the Ohio State receivers or something. So
yeah, I think those Ohio State guys have a pretty safe floor.
Yeah, for sure. Look at this scenario here. Kenny Pickett and Daniel Falele going to the Seahawks. My guy Christian Watson going to the Colts.
Yeah, I don't hate that for the Seahawks, but yeah.
I don't either. They definitely need offensive line, and Falele's massive, and obviously need a quarterback too.
Yep.
I feel like Kenny Pickett and Drew Lock could be kind of similar, though. I don't know.
Nothing flashy. Like, second round projects, I guess. I know I can kind of see the similarities there a little bit, and obviously pretty strong production at the end of their college careers.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, maybe it's worth it for the Seahawks, but at the same time, Uh, I don't know. I have a hard time. They have so many issues that they could go so many different directions that I don't know if it'd be worth it or not. But
Right.
uh, yeah, I guess I won't pretend to know the Seahawks situation inside and out either. But
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so here we are stuck with the same predicament as our last mock draft. We got Matt Corral sitting here second round.
yes, we do.
We also got Perion Winfrey, who's a borderline first round talent. That'd be intriguing as well at the defensive tackle spot.
Hmm.
But I guess I don't know enough about him. If he's more of a pass rusher, if he's a
I don't know if I like this or not. 'Cause I actually
yeah,
like the position that our D tackles are in right now, where I feel like this would be a little bit too rich for me as far as picking another guy this high to bolster that room.
right.
But at the same time, like you could talk me into it, I can get excited about it. But I don't know if that'd be my number one choice here.
Another guy I've been kind of curious about too is Roger Mccreery from Auburn.
Yeah.
I'll be kind of curious where he ends up, and I don't think the Vikings would
He,
pick corner in back to back rounds.
I don't know. He's got the T Rex arms.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot about
So
that.
it's like he has the college production that you like because that's a usually a good indicator of potential success in the NFL. But the
Hmm.
thing is guys with his arm size, I guess, just don't end up panning out more times than not. So that scares me a little bit when the athletic profile isn't what you're looking for. Albeit you shouldn't totally base your projection off of that. But like that can be a pretty strong indicator.
For sure. And I think like a Christian Harris would be super tempting here too, getting
Yeah,
another linebacker in the fold. I mean,
totally.
if you didn't want to go quarterback here, but honestly, I think it's super smart to go Matt Corral here, especially if you've just decided Kellen Mond is not good at football.
Hmm.
Like there's rumors, floating around now. I think it's mostly Chris Thomason saying that the plan for now is for Sean Mannion to be the backup once again. I don't mind having Sean Mannion on the team as long as he doesn't play football. Like
Yeah,
if
sure.
if he's the third string quarterback and he's in Kirk Cousins' ear every single game, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
But
whatever.
you need to draft a guy like a Matt Corral or Sam Howell, one of the two. Get a guy in here that could actually, play the position if you need him to.
Yes, exactly. I know that's professional.
So I don't know. I think we should go with Corral again. I know it's not any different than our last mock, but I think that's the smart pick at this stage.
I'm cool with that. Yeah, I'd pull the trigger on Corral here.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good to me.
Now, who's going to be on the board at our third round pick? I know this, obviously, the farther you get into mock draft, the more changes from the last iteration that we did it. But
Yep.
I mean, I'll be curious. There's still some positions I'd like us to explore for the Vikings because I think we could certainly bolster that DB room or add another edge rusher or something. I know it's a deep edge class, but I
Yep.
know there's the top 12 that we're going top 12 in the top 60. So obviously this is in the third round falling out of that range, but let's see what we're looking at here.
Yeah, and what I've kind of noticed too is like I think some of those edges, some of the higher, I guess they have a lot of higher ranked edges, but I feel like some of them could slip into the second round
They
too.
gotta, yeah.
And so like where we were picking there with Matt Corral, there weren't really any edges towards the top of the board. Whereas, I think in the real draft, you could find some talent there still in the second round.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think I know this is based off a computer machine that, like you said, it's got all the defensive ends, all these edge rushers, all ranked very high. And I mean, quite frankly, they should be because a lot of them are these really talented players. But
Yep.
you got to think like 12 of those guys going off like that to 12 different teams, presumably. Like that seems like a lot. So maybe you get lucky and one would slide basically or fall right into your lap. So I would definitely entertain that if it's there. But obviously, we're looking at it right now, and that's not here. But again, this is just a mock draft.
So I'm debating between like a wide receiver here or an interior offensive lineman. Because
Yes.
once again, we don't really have any edges towards the top of our list here.
No.
There's a couple corners if you go down a little ways, and you could potentially pick you could pick a linebacker here too. But at this point, like the defense is pretty solidified except for cornerback. So it's like if you're picking linebacker, that would just be a depth play. So you could add to the wide receiver room with a guy like John Mechie. You could try to bolster the interior of your offensive line with another pick, Dylan Parham. What did he play here? Developmental center. So I guess I'm not against that. Especially if you're thinking about maybe keeping Bradbury around for a year yet, getting another guy in here behind him that could potentially push him. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think that's definitely something we should explore at least or think about just because I don't think Bradbury's a long term solution, but KOC might want to see him in his offense for 1 year and see what that looks like, see if there's anything there that we could basically get out of him that hasn't
Hmm.
hasn't already come to the surface. But I think it wouldn't hurt to take one of these guys. And then like you said, I think the idea of a wide receiver here also feels very intriguing just because, I mean, you got a guy like John Mechie come from Alabama. I know Alabama creates all these great NFL players, and especially
Yep.
in recent years, the wide receiver position. I mean, they've had 4 first-round picks in the last 2 years at the wide receiver position. Then you got Jameson Williams, who probably the 5th this year, taking in the first round. They got John Mechie, like he's certainly got some skill. If you watch any Bama games last year, it was him Williams like 1 and 2. Like
Yeah, for
those
sure.
guys were huge for Bryce Young and getting them to the spot where they got to as far as winning the SEC championship, getting all the national championship. I think Mechie be a guy that I definitely love to take there. And he's coming off the injury, but at the same time, that doesn't really concern me, especially with a third round pick. Like you're not going to probably plug and play a third round pick. So I would definitely explore that. And like you said, like Calvin Austin too, he's more of a strictly slot receiver because of his size. I think he's only like 5'10", 180 or something, but
Okay.
he graded well basically everything at the combine. So he's an intriguing athlete. And then taking a guy like Leo Chenal, depth linebacker. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you go with this, but I'm kind of feeling the wide receiver. But again, I'm always thirsty for the skill position players in the draft, especially the higher the better.
Yeah, I'm thirsty for it too, but I think the smart play here is probably picking interior offensive line.
Sure.
Just getting a guy in here to push Bradbury because I'm still worried about the depth of this interior offensive line. I mean, we haven't
Yes.
done much this offseason to solidify that yet.
No,
So,
no, this is basically we played it like Rick would play it, and that's not good
yeah,
because that's failed for so long.
exactly. So now we got the long wait till our next pick because we do not have a fourth rounder after trading it for Chris Herndon.
Yeah, I know. Ugh, gross.
What
But
a
maybe
fantastic trade that was.
there's somewhere in this range though that Quasi would explore trading up with some of our later round picks. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. There's a punter at the top of the list here.
Ooh, I've heard that guy is actually pretty good, but I'm not pulling the trigger on a punter before like this
Oh,
6th or 7th round.
yeah, I'm just trying to think if your look here and see if there's really any names that I recognize. I know Jelani Woods is supposed to be, one of the top 5 tight ends, but what does that really mean, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know. It's supposed to be a weak tight end class, but
Yeah, which is a
oh,
bummer
here's
because we
some.
kind of need a tight end too.
Yeah, we do a little bit because we got Irv Smith, but that's about it. Because I don't like Herndon that much, and I mean Conklin's gone. That actually hurts more than I think people realize. But we'll
Yeah,
see what we do.
because I mean, Irv Smith is. I think he's going to be good when he's healthy, but it's just he's had injury issues basically every year of his career so far. So
Got to get him to stay on the field. Yeah,
for sure. Oh, so this Cam Jergens is still on the board. I've heard good things about him too. He's been kind of a riser lately for some people, and I think he's a center as well from Nebraska. But I think he can also play guard.
he was that guy that we're having doing goofy drills at the pro day the other day that everybody's talking about, right?
You might be right. Yeah.
Yeah, where he's doing all these goofy jumps and stuff. It's like great. He's showing off his athleticism, which is fantastic. But like, what does this have to do with football or anything that's he's gonna
Right.
actually do in a game? Like, it looked kind of ridiculous, but I mean, it is proven that the guy's got some movement to him that he can, I guess, yeah, just get out on the perimeter. I suppose I don't know what you'd want to what you want to say about that, but I did outside of that, outside of the mockery that the pro football analysts and all these gurus out there have been taking shots at Nebraska, like this guy. All jokes aside, can play.
Right. So, I mean, what do you think? Maybe do we want to add to the wide receiver core here? Do we want to go interior defensive line? There's still just not really any edge rushers in terms of like the value here, but it's the 4th round, your 5th round. You could maybe start reaching a little if you wanted
I mean,
to.
let's take a look at those edge rushers if we sort by those.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't. We got the guy from Minnesota, but he's still way down the list yet.
Yeah, I would, like you said, if we go back to the overall board here, I'm kind of thinking about that Cam Jurgens, but I don't know if that'd be too much for us. What do you think?
Yeah, it's tough because like we've only used one pick on defense so far, and I feel like that's where we really need to bolster the depth.
Hmm.
But that's what's going to happen if you pick a guy like Matt Corral. You're gonna
Yeah,
kind of throw that out the window. But
sure.
um, yeah, I don't know. This is tough. Could also
Let's
pick
go
another
go.
corner.
Yeah, let's go with that cat out of UCLA. But
We should probably go defense. I'm thinking.
sure, balance it out a little bit more.
Yeah, let's do this guy from UCLA.
Sure,
Otito Ogbanaya.
that sounds
Just
right. I feel like I've even heard that name before. I don't know much about him, but yeah.
That's strictly just picking for need, which is not what you should do in the NFL draft. But clearly
No,
we do not
here,
know these guys as well as the
yeah,
Vikings should.
this is where you're gonna take your shots where they have one really good trait where you feel like you bring the rest of their game around them to a more serviceable level that you could actually get some out of them. But at the same time, I think everybody's got their one guy that they find is like a hidden gem that nobody really talks about, but they're like, yeah, I like that this guy can do this specifically. Like obviously you can make these overall boards all you want, but sometimes you're gonna take just for specific traits rather than the overall game.
Right. And now we got 3 6-round picks here, which I'd hope we eventually trade one or two of them to
Yeah,
maybe move
sweet.
up. So
That's
yeah,
Trader Rick.
yeah, that's Trader Rick for you. So I mean, what do you want to do with these 3 6-round picks? Pierre Strong Jr. We've talked about him before as kind of an intriguing running back
I
prospect, although we don't really need a running back, but
Dude, I really like Justin Ross,
yeah,
actually.
I'm intrigued by him too because I think
He had a lot of
people
injury
thought
issues at Clemson, but like he could
yeah,
play.
people thought he was going to come out last year, and he was before last year's season started. I think he was projected first round pick.
Yeah, he was.
Now, of course, 2 seasons later, basically, he's completely fallen off. But like you said, that's due to injuries. So
Yep.
yeah,
I'm
he's
all in on that.
6'3". Yeah, let's pick him. That's an
Big body.
intriguing one.
I don't think we have anybody with that big of a frame in our wide receiver room right now.
I think you're right.
So I'm
Yeah,
all about
that
that.
intrigues me.
Yeah.
All right, we could maybe pick another center or sorry, safety, um, corner maybe again here. Could pick Chris Paul. Just pluck him from the NBA.
Ah, you can take the punter.
We could. It's good value. He's the 100th ranked prospect.
That's not bad. Now, are we still rolling? Yeah, because we just re-upped Jordan Berry, right?
We did, and he did have a good
Okay.
season.
Yeah, so we probably don't need to do that. But I wouldn't mind taking Pierre Strong here.
Yeah, he's intriguing, and I'm thinking Kalyn Barnes is kind of intriguing too.
Yeah,
Basically
sure.
6 feet tall. He's a little light on the weight side, but I feel like you need to come away with this draft with 2 corners.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
just because the depth is not great there. We just signed that guy from the Broncos. We still got like Chris Boyd, Harrison Hand, and I know those guys
We
were
do.
later round picks too. But
We got our guy Ty Smith back too.
yes, oh thank God. Um, or Damon Clark, a linebacker from LSU,
Maybe.
four
You make the
star.
call here. I was driving the bus for Justin Ross there. What are you thinking here? I mean, we got back to back, so you can kind of do whatever you want. But
That's true. I'm gonna go Damon Clark. I think we need a linebacker,
sure, let's do it.
and then Pierre Strong is intriguing.
Yeah.
You get him, Dalvin Cook, and Kene Nwangu in a room, and probably ditch Alexander Madison at that point.
Yeah, because Madison's contract expires after this year, and who knows what we'll do with Dalvin beyond this season, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it could be worth it.
Yeah, let's take a flyer on him.
Why not? 6th round, might as well.
So yeah, we still have one corner, which isn't great, but
Uh-huh.
maybe they bring Pat P back or something. Who knows?
And then you feel a little bit better because then you have Pat P, you'd have Sauce, you'd have Dantzler, and you'd have Chandon Sullivan, which I'd feel
Yes,
pretty good about.
I'd feel pretty good about that too. You need to be like 4 corners deep. I mean,
Yes.
Vikings have been riddled with injuries the last couple seasons, and we've seen some scary cornerback play.
Yeah.
Gosh, what was that guy that made the business decision against the Cowboys? Chris Jones, was that his name?
Chris Jones. Yep, that's the
Oh,
guy. But here's the thing: I feel like corners can be so streaky and so up and down and so unknown sometimes that you can get the best play out of those guys sometimes. Like for instance, the Packers, they picked up freaking Rasul Douglas in the middle of
yeah,
the season, and then he just balled out, had all these interceptions, all these great plays, and now he's back for them with a second contract. Like you can find those guys. So like I don't think you need to prioritize going super deep at corner. Like obviously the deeper the better, but at the same time, I think you can only make it so good, I guess, before
right.
expending too many resources that way.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. All right. Yeah, I don't know
prospect.
anybody that's on this list here. We got a receiver from Miami.
Yeah. What if we
Um,
scroll down a little bit here, see if we can pick out a name?
wow, this is scraping the bottom of the barrel, but it is the 7th round, so
Is there any position you have in mind? How about with our team needs here? If they want to provide us anything, have we taken an edge rusher?
we have not.
Yeah, let's see. Let's take a chance.
Jeremiah Moon,
That's a pretty cool name.
edge rusher from Florida.
Yeah, let's do it. If you went to Florida, decent chance he's probably a high recruit, and then you never know.
So we got Sauce Gardner and Matt Corral, which I'd be thrilled if we came away with those two,
Dude,
honestly.
that'd be kind of bonkers. I would be very excited.
But like you and I have talked about before, Sauce probably won't be there at 12. Neither will Stingley most likely. So it would make a lot of sense to trade back at least a few spots.
Totally.
Maybe collect a 2nd-round pick for this year, maybe a 1st-round pick for next year, which would be huge because next year's draft is supposed to be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dylan Parham gets some interior offensive line depth. And then from there on out, it's kind of just taking shots at guys like Justin Ross could be, a very intriguing prospect, picking him later on.
I'd be really excited about Justin Ross there. I know it's not a super high pick, and obviously he fall for a reason, but I watched some Clemson games, and he certainly had the talent. It was just staying on the field and making it all come together for a sustained period of time. But I think I could get really pumped about that as far as the late round pick goes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll keep doing these once a week until I guess the draft comes. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, just super intriguing. I mean, obviously, hopefully they'll still make another move or two that'll give us a clearer picture of what they're going to do. And I don't know. I have faith in Kwesi. I know a lot of fans have been upset about how he's handled this offseason because we're not rebuilding at all, really. We're just kind of running it back. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's got a plan when it comes to the draft, at least in identifying talent. And so I'm hoping that, even though we're running it back, he's still going to be able to stock the cupboards with prospects that maybe won't play this year, but can actually play in the future.
I know, right?
So
Yeah, that's the hope. I can't wait to see what his draft strategy is actually like. If he's a guy who likes to trade up a lot, or maybe he's like Rick, and like the rest of the
right.
offseason is, oh, that's gone. Maybe he's another guy that likes to trade back, and sometimes it's definitely the right play because then you accumulate draft picks, especially at a spot when you don't feel like the best player available is at a position that you desperately covet. So
Right.
I'd say this first draft for any GM is always exciting just because you really never know what they're going to do, what's going through their minds. You usually like to keep those cards close to your vest as much as
Yeah.
possible. So we'll see what he's feeling.
I could totally see him being a trade back guy
Yeah,
though, and just get value, get value, get value. But
yeah,
I mean, hopefully I'm wrong about that. I'm hoping he creates some excitement here. I honestly wouldn't mind a trade up at this point because we've had the last couple of years we've had so many picks in the draft. I wouldn't mind if we came away with like 6 or 7 guys from this draft as long as they're just quality players.
yeah. True, and it depends what kind of philosophy you believe in. If you're as many dart throws as possible, I mean, some of them got to stick. Or if you're a big believer in trading up and getting as high value picks as possible, so then you're getting the best prospects available. So it really depends. Again, that's another thing you just don't know with him, and I can't wait for it. Honestly, when we get to
Right.
draft night that Thursday, 1st round, and then he trades back, and everybody just throws a fit because it's like, oh, this is exactly what Rick would do.
He trades back and he still drafts a corner and the fans are outraged.
Yeah.
I could see it.
I can't wait for it. And also, I was going to throw this in there too quick. I'm curious if everybody else kind of feels like us about Sauce being a slam dunk there. I mean, you guys should throw it in the comments below if
For
you're
sure.
feeling like we should go with somebody else besides Sauce, if that isn't as much of a slam dunk as we think it is. But I kind of want to know if there's other positions of need that people have, or maybe positions people want that the
Yeah.
Vikings should kick the tires on. So
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I guess we'll wrap it that way. Yeah, that'll do it for this edition of the North Star Takes podcast. Please be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Give us a follow on both Twitter and Instagram. And as Liberta just mentioned, leave your comments below. What would you do differently than us when it comes to this draft? I'm sure there's quite a bit, especially probably with that 2nd-round pick, I would imagine. But
yeah, oh for
um,
sure.
yeah, let us know maybe if you'd pick someone else instead of Sauce, or obviously Sauce probably wouldn't be there, who you would pick instead. So yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments section. And until next time, thanks for watching.